Welcome back to the channel. Today we're asked the question, have you ever used Plasti Dip? That's coming up next here in the Shade Tree Garage. All right, guys. Well, we've all heard of Plasti Dip. I'm sure we've seen it and maybe even used it. Now, from what I can tell on YouTube, there are a lot of uses that have nothing to do with dipping anything. People paint stuff with it. And I actually used it to replace mouse-chewed insulation on some of the underhood wiring on my 2017 Dodge Journey. The wires weren't damaged, but the insulation was. So before I wrapped it in tape, I replaced the insulation with thick coating of Plasti Dip, and it worked great. Now that's just one of the many uses you can use for this stuff. Well, but have you ever used it for its intended purpose? To dip pliers in and give them a coating on the grip, you know? Have you ever done that? Well, honestly, I never have. All right, so I bought some Chinese Plasti Dip just to dab on the wires, the bare wires on my car. And so I've got a bunch of this stuff left, and I've got a pair of slip joint pliers that I've had forever, and I've always wished they had some sort of rubber grip, and I prefer pliers that have that. And I had an old pair of I don't know what's this, I can't remember the name brand. I had an old pair of, they weren't Craftsman, old pair of pliers with a gray rubbery grip, and I love those pliers. Well, now I will tell you, in the Shade Tree Garage, and maybe you had the same thing happen to you, tools never disappear permanently. They just kind of take a vacation and they're gone until you find them again, you know. Or as the as Murphy's Law of toolboxes will tell you, you don't find the lost tool until you buy its replacement. And that's why I probably have 14 10mm sockets, you know. Anyway, and I never have a 1/2 inch or 9/16 inch when I need one. All right, be that as it may, let's get on with the program here. All right. Now, let's see. This is my bottle of Chinese Plasti Dip, and I'll have to get my glasses on to read it. All right, what's it say it is? Rubber plastic coating, and it actually has a little graphic showing a pair of pliers dipping the handle in there. So what do you think about that? All right. Let's see, anti-slip, enhances tool friction and control, durable, impact resistant, and UV resistant. Let's see, multi-protective, insulated, and moisture reducing. Flexible and long lasting. All right, now there on the back it's got all these probably warning labels, causes cancer in California, etc., etc. I can't read that without a microscope. All right, well, I've got a pair of slip joint pliers set up right here, and see if I can't get the camera zeroed in on this. Maybe. All right, you have to overlook all the trash underneath my bench here. But all right, I've got my Plasti Dip here. I'm going to put a glove on just for safety's sake, because I don't want to get this crap all over my skin. It's hard to get off. And I can tell you that from experience. All right, what happened was the Plasti Dip that around the edges of this jar dried, and it basically cemented the cardboard piece that's stuck up in the lid to seal it, it basically sealed it in. All right, there's the goop, and I'm going to dip this in here. All right, that's the first application. All right, we'll stand by, let that set up a little bit, and we'll come back for more. All right, guys. Well, I will tell you that a lot of Plasti Dip sloughed off of it, just dripped on the floor. And so when that happened, I decided to get a modeling paintbrush, and I would grab the drips, and then I started applying it with the brush to the other part of the handle. Now, you'll get a smoother finish, I'm sure, by dipping it, but I can kill two birds with one stone, I think. So it's been almost 15 minutes. Internet tells me it takes 15 to 30 minutes for each coat to dry. So we're going to go ahead and I'll press my luck and give this another dab. It looks like it's going to drip pretty good too. So I'm just going to let it drip a minute. All right, guys. Well, after all the dipping I did with the Chinese version of Plasti Dip, let me show you what I ended up with. And I don't know if you can get a good look at these pliers. These pliers or not. Don't have good lighting. They've got a coating on them. It's not exactly super smooth. It doesn't feel super padded, but that's what they look like. Now, the feel is okay, not spectacular. I guess better than bare metal. Now, I will not vouch for how insulated the pliers are, because this is not a very thick coating. It's several coats, but it's not a super insulator, I don't think. But what I will tell you is that it was a lot of work. Now I want to try a real Plasti Dip to see if it works better, because every time I dipped, as you see in the video, every time I dipped a handle in, most of it sloughed off, dripped off, either on the floor or back in the container. And I ended up using a small paintbrush, grabbing the drips and painting the other handle. And actually painting the handles seems to be a very effective way of putting the stuff on. Now, it's not the smoothest finish. Dipping, of course, it will give you a smoother finish. But it is what it is. Now, again, this was the Chinese version. Maybe the real Plasti Dip will work a little differently. So that remains to be seen. Like I said, I didn't buy this to dip handles of pliers in. The only reason I bought that was to a repair for missing insulation on my rodent chewed wiring under the hood of my Dodge Journey. And it worked real well to fix that. After all the work dipping these and painting them with this Chinese version of Plasti Dip, I realized the easiest way to insulate these and to put some sort of grip on them is to use heat shrink tubing. That's right. A length of about 6 inches of heat shrink tubing. We'd go over each one. You could shrink it with a heat gun or soldering iron, and you'd be done. And you'd have a very nice, smooth handle on each part of the plier. And that's it would look better. It'd be smoother and probably better insulated if you're worried about electrical shock or grounding out somewhere. Anyway, that's I think that the biggest lesson takeaway from this whole experiment is don't fool with this to coat tool handles. Try unless you've got a large handle, you can't get shrink tubing on, use heat shrink tubing, and you get it done quicker. And it probably look better. All right, guys, that's the lesson from today. From here inside the walls of the Shade Tree Garage. Take care and come back soon.